Welcome to the Making Awesome podcast, season 3, episode 16. We're going to be talking all about my predictions for 2023 in the 3D printing industry. Appreciate you guys coming here to hang out. Victoria's here, although chances are she's probably going to be heading away because she doesn't like when I film. I don't know why, but apparently she doesn't like when I film. I don't know, man. But she's here hanging out, so hope everyone's doing all right. We got Jellybomb267 hanging out. Mr. Pfeiffer's here. Nick, Daniel England. Hey, everyone. How are all of you doing today? Hope you all had a wonderful new year and didn't do things you shouldn't do. Appreciate it. Be good and kind to others and such. 2022 was an interesting year for 3D printing. We saw a lot of things come out of the market and industry that I don't think a lot of us expected. And the big one I think a lot of people didn't see coming was Bambu Lab, right? We're going to talk about them in a bit, so stay tuned for that. How you doing, Geek Toy Box? We got Shotgunner5609, Michael Ferguson here. Ooh, from Australia. Really awesome. Travis Albert as well. How's everyone doing today? Appreciate everyone hanging out. And if you are listening back to this, make sure to head over to YouTube. Check out 3D Musketeers. Links will be in that show notes or wherever the heck it should be. And you'll be able to come hang out with us live. This is probably the last of the Monday episodes for a bit. We're going to probably go back to Sundays. I didn't want to do them on like national holidays. Figure most people aren't working today. And if they are, sorry. But hey, whatever. We got Mr. Rosario saying it's 3 a.m. in Korea. Thanks for staying up late and hanging out. It's currently 1 p.m. where I'm at, but I appreciate you guys coming over and hanging out. If you are hanging out live, make sure to leave a like as well and get subscribed if you haven't. And this is the best time of the month to start joining and supporting your favorite content creators, whether it is us or anybody else. You can join us over on Patreon or YouTube channel members for just a couple of bucks a month. And that gets you access to behind the scenes content. And if the video that I filmed for Wednesday is any idea, you're in for a lot of interesting BTS content. I filmed an entire take of Wednesday's video and had a bad memory card in the printer and just fumbled around with it for hours. It was bad. Patreon's going to get that effectively unedited. And when I figured out that I cut my foot pretty bad. And if you're in our Patreon Discord, you got to see that, where I post photo of the gash, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. But anyways, let's talk about 2022, right? We saw the leave, I think, of cheap Ender clones, ones that had no features, that were just manually bed leveled, and that's it. We saw 3D scanning become so incredibly strong with Polycam. Which I would love to work with Polycam. That'd be a lot of fun to compare what Polycam can do on an Android phone, on an iPhone, and then compare it directly to our myriad of scanners. It's pretty cool. And then we've also seen things like the RevoPoint Mini get released, which bit of a flop in my opinion. We have the Shining 3D Einstar, which is one that I will be doing a video on. It's probably in February. I think we're going to stick to January being about newbies trying to get involved in the industry. But if you are a part of our Patreon Discord, we have a whole channel there for video topic ideas where we share ideas. I tell you guys kind of what we're working on, where it's going to end up, and what the plans are for the future of the channel. Shotgunner says only Patreons get feet pics. That's correct. Patreon, the Discord members did get a free feet pic yesterday, or a no added charge feet pic, I should say. There's a lot, and yeah, we saw Bambu obviously do well. We saw Anchor put out a pretty serious Kickstarter, but then get the hell beaten out of them by creators like Linus Tech Tips for their lack of data security on their EFI cameras, their UFI, I don't know how the hell they spell it. But a lot has gone on, right? And the Anchor Make, even though it did better on Kickstarter, has been absolutely demolished by Bambu Lab. Um, Bambu has kind of changed the industry and is valid proof that people are tired of Ender 3 clones. Now, before I get into the expected Bambu hate, I should point out that I believe overall, whether Bambu succeeds or fails, that their printer is good for the community. Let's wind this back a few years when Intel was the only company making processors. We hadn't seen AMD make a processor since the FX series, and let's be real, those are pretty terrible. Intel was doing very minor iterations to their platform to where it didn't make sense to upgrade, right? I was running a 4770K all the way up through like early 2021, right? Because it worked and I couldn't really afford anything else. AMD comes onto the market with their Ryzen processors and absolutely wipes the floor with Intel. And now all of a sudden, Intel is forced to compete. Because if they don't compete, they're destined to fail. This is Bambu Lab. Bambu Lab is AMD. And companies like Prusa are Intel. And if you don't think that Prusa is looking at making improvements because of Bambu, I would guess we're all wrong. Right? It's an interesting thing. Now, I happen to know a beta tester. I actually know a couple of people that are beta testing the XL, and parts are looking pretty good. I'm seeing that. Jellybomb said, did I see the guy that combined ink with filament? I don't know what incorporation you're talking about with filament, but no, I haven't. So there's that. But yes, I want to be clear that the XL is a good printer, and I am getting one. I'm still on the fence about Bambu. Although I will say, kudos to them. They implemented Cura's brand new support algorithm for the thin tree supports pretty much overnight. So, A+. You really can't harp that. But I just wish they would put as much people into their software team, or as much people into their hardware support team as they have into their software team. I see people with hardware problems that are very clearly a QC issue that Bambu just doesn't really respond to. So, but again, I believe that this is a good move for the community. Companies are now forced to look at value rather than cost, right? We don't want to see cheap Ender clones anymore. Nobody wants to see them. As a reviewer, I don't want to see them anymore. But we now have machines like the Solval SV06, which I now have 2 of, which is interesting. When it appears that I am doing that freezy frame thing again. Give me just a second. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? I'm going to take you. And there's really not much I can do. All right. Well, I'm sorry if you guys experience buffering. It is not intended. My apologies. Anyways, as we move through into 23, we see that Ender clones are moving away. People don't want them anymore. While we still like the Bedslinger style of the Enders, we don't necessarily want the cheap price. We want value. And the Solval SV06, of which I think I was getting to, that I have 2 of them now. One that was provided to me by a buddy, and one that was sent to me by Solval. And the boxes are different. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, because we are going to be doing an unboxing of that live. We see printers like the Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro, Plus, and Max that are bringing value as well as a low price. The days of buying an Ender 3 for like $150 to $200 is really not worth it to me anymore. I'd rather spend the money on something like a Soval or an Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro and not have to do the upgrades like a bed leveling probe, flex PEI plate and that kind of thing. On the Elegoo, you still do have to, you still do have to, sorry. Well, you still do have to put a all metal hot end into it. So that is something to note, that you will need an all metal hot end. But yes, yeah, if you guys are trying to send links, make sure to DM it to either myself or to a mod. They'll be able to post the link in the chat. If it is a TikTok link, I will not open it. I do not use TikTok, period. If you see us on TikTok, it is not me. It is one of the staff. So if you do send us stuff on TikTok, I don't look at it. It's not happening. It's data mining. And if you think it's anything other than that, you're wrong. Anyways. The value proposition has gone away from just cheap printers, and I think that's going to continue. I think we're going to see companies being forced to do better and not just cheaper, right? Don't get me wrong, I think the $100 Micro Center Ender 3 is going to continue to sell well, because I think at $100, it's a pretty tough thing to look beyond. But I don't believe that we're going to see much in terms of cheap come out. It's been obviously proven with Bambu, both with the X1 Carbon and the P1P, that people don't mind spending a little bit of extra money to get a better value of a printer. Now, I will be curious to see how the P1P holds up. It's basically a stripped down X1 Carbon where value engineering could be done. It was done. So I'm all about that. I am all about that value engineering. But does it make sense from a business perspective for those that want to get a printer to have to now 3D print their own side panels and that kind of stuff? It seems like it might be more work than it's worth. So, grain of salt that one, if you will. Looking further, I see that we go into more value, right? Printers are going to start coming with flex plates. They're going to start coming with filament runout sensors, which is funny because the Soval doesn't have one, but they're going to start coming with filament runout sensors, and we're going to see better boards. My best guess for 2023 is if we continue with this Cartesian Ender 3 style build of 3D printers, we move into better motherboards, right? A lot of companies have gone into doing 32-bit boards already, and we have Clipper and some of the other systems out there that assist in this, right? But I think we're going to see more printers come with its stock. That is going to be a thing. And yes, as Christoph Palmer is saying, that there is a banner on the top of Purse's website to do a survey on the successor for the Mark III. If it wasn't obvious to you, the Mark III is a little bit old. It's 5 years old now. And it's why I get a little bit frustrated when people compare a 5-year-old printer to the Bambu. 5-year-old, 5-month-old. Yeah, it's not as sexy, it's not as new, it's not as all this, but it's a proven, dedicated, trusted workhorse. So take that with whatever you might like. Oh, okay, the $99 Ender 3 Pro has a 32-bit board, just not silent drivers. Thank you, Nicholas. And hey, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you coming in. I don't know what Prusa will do, but I do know that a Clipper style is pretty much guaranteed. Now with Marlin supporting all this motion control systems that you get out of Clipper, this vibration control and everything like that, input shaping, I think is what they call it. That to me is really where we move. Speed is more valued at this point than anything else. So I think we see a lot of that. I think we see a lot of companies really pushing extra speed. but I don't see them competing on price, right? Elegoo has notoriously been the brand to just undercut everybody, but they're not really doing that anymore. They did it, they got their footholding, and I think that they're now realizing that cutthroat margins don't make a good business plan. You really do have to look at something that is more beneficial in the long term for you as a company. And that's not necessary. Jeez, my computer. All right, I'm going to. It's doing a backup, and it always does a backup at this time. And it frustrates me because I can't pause the backup. So I apologize if you guys see me freeze for a little bit. But if I kill the backup, do I kill the backup or do I pause it? Let me open it. Give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. It's bothering me when I see myself freeze. And this happens every week because my backups happen at this time. My backups happen on Mondays. Thank you, Madcap. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can pause this. No, it doesn't look like it. I can either stop the entire, I could stop the entire backup or I can't. That's fun. Sorry, guys. We're going to deal with it for a bit. Anyways, if you are hanging out with us live, make sure to like the stream as well. Greatly appreciate it. But I think Elegoo's moving away from being the cheap guy on the block, right? We can see them moving toward machines with higher prices, right? The Ender 3, oh God, Ender 3. The Elegoo Neptune 3 Max is $500, $479. But it's huge. 420, nice. By 420, by 500. That's a big, big Bedslinger. Probably too big for most people. So I would like to believe, and this is my prediction, that we will see more companies come out with better value on the printers than we will see for cheap. I believe that the consumer is more focused on that value than they are focused on that price. Like those of you that have bought a Bambu, maybe had an Ender 3 beforehand. Think about the price of it. How many Ender 3s can you get for a Bambu X1 Carbon? It's something like 10 or close to it, right? It's a lot of Ender 3s. Gregory Pfeiffer says, that's an insane Bedslinger. Did they at least use linear rails instead of V-wheels? No, they did not. I would like to see people move away from V-wheels, but I believe V-wheels are here to stay. The reason is they're quiet. V-wheels are very, very quiet. Compared to ball bearings, they are way quieter. And with people buying 3D printers for kids and people putting 3D printers in their rooms where they live, not just dedicated spaces like I have, they don't want the noise, which is funny to me because the Bambu is incredibly loud. JTTV says, people buy $1,000 phones. Buying a $1,000 printer is not crazy if it's good. Value. Companies are now competing on that value proposition. And it's no secret that Prusa is making that successor to the Mark III platform. Now that the XL is pretty much all but signed, sealed, and delivered, it's time for them to look at a successor. Now, the nice thing, and hopefully we have some faith here, because Prusa has promised it, that we will see some adjustments in the pricing of their machines and the upgrade path. I'm expecting the successor to the Mark IV to be announced this year, but I don't suspect it will come out at all until maybe Q4 of 2023. Prusa, with the release of the XL, has put a lot of time, effort, and money into it, and I don't think they'd want to shadow the XL with something else. I think we would see an iteration of the Mini before we see a successor to the Mark III platform. Because we're done with iterations of the Mark III. We're now moving into... We're now moving into something with more backing to it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Spurlock says, look at how much it costs to upgrade an Ender 3 to a Prusa quality or even Bambu P1P. Quality and speed are two different things. I do not believe that an Ender is stiff enough to run at the speeds that a Bambu runs. I don't believe a Prusa is either. Not reliably. But they certainly don't have the cooling for it. But to me, it's never been about speed, right? Which is funny because we charge by the hour when it comes to 3D printing as well as materials. But I don't want people to get ahead of themselves and say, oh, all I care about is speed. Yeah, a 17-minute benchy is cool. Like, no one's going to get you down on that. But I'd rather have a benchy that looks really, really good and is strong, but isn't pushing the boundaries of what I can extrude my filament at. So be careful there as well. Oh, we actually peaked at 50 people. Hey, welcome everybody to the chat. I saw we had 51 people. We've been getting more than 50 people every stream, which is really cool. Thank you guys for showing up for these ones. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't, and like the stream if you don't mind. So I believe that while I might be hesitant about Bambu, and I do believe it's a ton of money, I believe they're going to provide a lot of value to the community, if nothing else, than to scare competitors into doing better, which is only beneficial for the consumer. Looking at price trends, I don't think we're going to be tickling the $200 mark much anymore. I think we're going to see people pushing towards FDM printers to be faster and come with more features, which means they're more willing to pay a bit of a premium for those features so that they don't have to install them themselves. Factory installed option is better than one you have to do yourself 99 times out of 100. And on top of that, you also don't have to deal with any of the BS that comes along with it, like voiding warranties. So be careful about those kinds of things. When looking at the price points, I see more companies sending out printers closer to the $600 or $700 mark. It appears that is the mark that goes from entry-level consumer printer. All right. I am Jellybomb267, if you keep posting that, I will ban you from the chat. Please stop doing that. If you would like me to see something, you can either DM it to one of the mods here in the chat, or you can DM it to me on Twitter. If it is a TikTok link, I will not watch it. Please stop doing that. Anyways, I hate when people spam the chat, but hey, welcome to YouTube, right? When we look at price points, that $700 price point to me is the difference between your first printer and the printers you actually use. How many of you have a $200 printer that just kind of sits and collects dust, where you have a more expensive printer or one that you've put more money into, right, to make it above that $200 price point, that is now your baby? It is your everyday. It is the printer that you use all the time. I would assume it's quite a lot of you. I'm the same way. Right? I literally have set some of my first printers on fire that cost me $400 back in the day. By the way, that printer's going to get set on fire again. So if you like when I set things on fire and have really cringy, but also slightly clickbaity intros, get subscribed. We're going to be testing the Wham Bam Cloud, their fire suppression system, and I'm very excited to give that thing a shot, because it's either going to work or the entire enclosure for this printer is going to catch fire because, oh yeah, I'm going to enclose a printer that is on fire in wood. Because, you know, I like that kind of thing. I like messing around. As Spurlock says, Florida man has got a Florida man. That's right. I got a Florida man. It's been a while since I've had a bit of a Florida man thing. But yes, I believe we're going to see that price point jump up. I think we're still going to have those budget competitors, and I think Elegoo, Creality, and Anycubic are going to be the ones that really move that wheel and see where we can get in terms of the value proposition. But now that it's been proven that people are willing to spend more money, once they get a better of a foothold in the industry, I think we're going to see that happen more often. And what I would like to see when that occurs is companies really pushing the boundaries for their motherboards. Everybody using the same motherboard, while it is useful, oops, someone's calling the company. Let's see who it is. It's a spam. If companies want to continue to make amazing machines, I believe they also have to really work on their motherboards, right? Just pulling a 32-bit board off of the shelf and slapping it into a printer is not good enough anymore. Just having a generic bottom of the barrel slicer is not good enough anymore. Giving a old outdated version of Cura without profiles is not good enough anymore. People want to see the value that gets this thing closer to a plug-and-play device. If we want to see 3D printers get mass adopted, they have to become as close to plug-and-play as possible. I see we have Worst Peter and John Stern hanging out. How you guys doing as well? Welcome, everybody, of course, to the stream. And by the way, put your predictions in the chat, and what we can do is we can revisit this in a year and see where we were at. Because we might be good, we could be wrong, who knows? But let's move into materials. PLA is a great material, but it's old. It's not sexy. We've seen co-extrusions and tri-extrusions do incredibly well. And while the vast majority of people that come and buy filament from me want black, white, or gray, I think we're going to see more companies push closer to what we see coming out of Protopasta. Amazing, crazy colors that just look really, really good. I love Protopasta. Their filament is amazing, but it is a little pricey. And the average user is not going to spend that kind of money on it unless they really want something like the Nebula, which, while expensive, is pretty much the only way to get that really, really amazing looking filament. I think we're going to see less kit builds. We're going to see more open box, maybe 2 screws, you have a working printer, right? Where it's even pre-wired. All you have to do is just set the frame up. We're going to see more Core XYs, but they're all going to be looking at running higher temp materials. PLA is good, but as a resident Florida man, it's pretty much useless if I want to do practical parts that need to survive anything above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, because it doesn't. PETG to me is still one of the best materials out there for 3D printing. It prints just like PLA. It's a little more susceptible to water, so I think we're going to see more dry boxes come out from companies and hopefully lower the price, because Sunlu's dry boxes are nice, but at $70, they're very expensive. And I think we could see better numbers come out from other companies. So be curious to see what that looks like. I think PETG is going to be a king this year. I think we're going to see more people using it. I do believe that people are still going to use PLA, but I think the practical use case of PETG is there. With Bambu giving you a printer that has hardened steel nozzles and fully tuned profiles right from the factory, I think nylon is going to be a big winner this year. And we're going to see companies start to produce more of those exotic materials. I love carbon fiber nylon. What I don't love about carbon fiber nylon is all the BS that comes with it. The constant need for drying, the constant need for tuning, and especially here in Florida, just putting desiccant into an AMS is not going to do it for me. I would love to see more functional 3D prints and less benchies. While a speed benchy is cool, my prediction is outside of the world of the speed benchies, we will look at adopting a different calibration print, whether they are calibration cubes or something like that. I believe we will see different calibration prints themselves. I think we're going to see more development in the high temp materials like PEEK, PEC, and ULTEM. PEEK being polyether ether ketone, and PEC being polyether ketone ketone. Yes, that's the way it is. And ULTEM being polyether imide, which a lot of you will know is the material that a lot of the beds are made up of. It would be cool to see hobbyist printers and the cheaper machines get high temp materials north of 300C, but as Eric Cederberg says, I don't think we're going to see many hobbyist printers for real high temp materials. The cost simply adds up too much for the printer materials, etc. I absolutely agree. I would love to see it, because as someone that would like to print those high temp materials but isn't willing to pay the 8 to 10 grand minimum required for that, it sucks. I don't want it, and I don't think others want it. Jesus Rosario is asking, have I tried, or Jesus Rosario has asked if I've tried carbon fiber ASA. I have not. I generally stay away from styrene-based plastics. I don't like plastics that are made of liquefied dinosaurs. It is my preference to go to a nylon or a polycarbonate. I don't like oil-based plastics. They stink too much. And when nylon and polycarbonate have almost no smell, and they're a lot easier to deal with, why wouldn't I go with them instead? Personal feelings, your mileage may vary. I think the XL is going to show that tool changers have a value in the industry. The E3D tool changer was a bit of a flop, honestly. It works well, but it is finicky. And if Prusa can make a tool changer that works well, and I believe they will, I believe they're going to have some work to do out of the gate. I don't think it's going to get the rave reviews that it would have gotten if the Bambu wasn't out. But people are going to directly compare the Prusa XL to the Bambu, and they rightfully should. They rightfully should. Is 3 Bambus better than a Prusa XL? I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Eric says 8 to 10 grand gets you a pretty terrible high-end printer, more like 50 to 75K. That's fair. But there are some pretty good high-temp printers coming out of Italy in the 8 to 10 grand range that I'd love to take a look at. I forgot the name of the company. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But I've got a buddy who is repping them and tells me they're pretty good. He sent me a part made of PEEK, and it looked really good. And it was pretty strong, so it wasn't like they were just playing with a cool chamber. So I would love to see it. It's a prediction that we see the kind of mid-range, I'm saying mid-range price points being the 5 to 10K, come down a little bit closer to the industry standard of the 2,500 to 5,000. It would be nice to see it. I would love it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think we're going to push toward it, but I don't know if it's going to be a consistency. Vast CNC says, half hour behind y'all. Let's see if 1.5X will catch up before the end. It might. It might. Who knows? I want to see more blends, more copolyesters. I want to see companies messing around with things other than pure PLA, pure PETG, pure ABS, pure ASA. I like PCABS. It's a terrible material to print with unless you can get good chamber temps. If you can get good chamber temps, it's a great material to print with. It is temperature resistant. It is impact resistant. It is very, very easy to extrude, and it is not very sticky. So it uses the good properties of ABS, the good properties of polycarbonate, with the same problem being they both warp pretty badly. I want to see input shaper be used more often. That is a value to me. I haven't used it much, and I do want to try Clipper this year. So a prediction for me is that I'm going to learn Clipper this year, and I want to do that. JTTV asks, where do you see Ultimaker going? This is a funny one. When was the last time you guys checked Thingiverse? It's way better. I think it's running on at least a Raspberry Pi 4 now. It's definitely not running on a Potato anymore. So that is really, really good to see. Is it going to beat out printables? I don't think so. I think printables is here to stay, and their movements for right to repair, as well as the gamification with Prusa meters, has made it a better place for a community, I believe. Now, I know there are people in the chat that have direct connections to Ultimaker and MakerBot and all of that. And, I'll happily eat crow on that. Prove me wrong. Noir, maybe, says, hi, Grant, Happy New Year. Can you please tell us how nylon filament compares to PLA or PETG in terms of smell? It has no smell. Nylon is scentless. So similar to PETG, where it doesn't really have a smell. PLA to me has that sweet corn smell. But the problem with nylon is that it is hygroscopic. So could we see a blend of a nylon with a different material that makes it less hygroscopic and easier to 3D print? I'd like to see it. I'd like to see more. A prediction for me is that we see more benefit around the recycling side of 3D printing and what that looks like. I am so glad that we are moving toward cardboard spools. That was a prediction that I had last year, that we would see a transition to cardboard spools. I think that is amazing because it allows for considerably easier recycling. However, we still have all this waste material to deal with. And if you're running a tool changer or a Bambu with an AMS, you have a lot of waste that you're dealing with. And that waste is not easily recyclable through a municipal waste system. So what does that mean? Right? To me, that means we have to figure out a way to make something work. We need to have a plan in place already that enables easy recycling. And if that means we have to reach out to municipal recycling centers and say, hey, look, this is a big market that is creating a fair bit of microplastics. How do we solve this problem? Then we do it. I believe that we will be looking at ways to recycle filament at home. Those of you that are old school might remember the Philistruder. While it's a great system, it's loud, it's slow, and for me at least, it wasn't the most dimensionally accurate. When you can get filament for $20 a kilo made in America, it's very hard for people to say, I'd rather make it myself. But if we make it less of a hassle to recycle, I believe we're going to see better use cases there. Machines that know what filament they're printing because you've told them is very valuable. Ones that can say, hey, the last print you ran on me was PETG. Did you load PLA? Yes, I did. Great. Cool. Those ways will mean that there are less human errors because you didn't read something. I believe companies like Diamondback, and I love them. I've said it before. I like diamond nozzles, are going to do better. I think we're going to see people care more about those abrasive materials because carbon fiber is just sexy. We know it is. Bugatti, Lamborghini, and Ferrari have all proven that it is. So we're going to see more people using it. I want to see, and this is a prediction, I believe we have predictions of better filament adoption overseas. The United States has really enjoyed cheap, accessible filament for a long time now. And that's great. I'm happy about that. But other countries haven't. And Amazon is going to continue to reign king. And that means that companies will have to start stocking filament in overseas Amazon warehouses. So I believe we will see better materials available in other countries. Someone's calling my personal cell phone. It is my mother. Why is my mother calling me? Give me just a second. Okay, everything's fine. Mom's good. She's just calling to say hi. It's my streaming time. Mom, I'm streaming. Always answer the phone for your parents. I don't care what you're doing. Always answer the phone for your parents. Sorry, I muted myself because if there was something going on, I didn't want that to come through on the stream. And yes, the cat is here. If you guys didn't notice, Victoria is here hanging out with us today. She's very sleepy. She's been working very, very hard. So she's sleepy, of course. I want to see companies for filament push better diameters, better accuracy, more consistency, and better colors. I don't mind that most people want gray, white, and black. And there's my father. She's just not as computer savvy as Dad. That's fair. Hi, Dad. How you doing? Everyone say hi to my daddies in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. Mom must have been on a lunch break or something. But it's all good. As long as everybody's fine, that's what matters. Geek Toy Box is asking what I think of new brands section on printables. He's excited to see more companies get on board providing 3D printable parts. I am excited. I am excited for that. I want to see the right to repair be pushed more. And with this industry becoming so commercialized and what's the right word? Consumerized? That's not the right word. We're breaking down the walls and making it easier for the average person to have a 3D printer. Whatever the hell that word is, I forget what it is. Companies are going to have to push right to repair or consumers will do it for them. Look at John Deere. John Deere does not give a damn about right right to repair, and so the farmers are hacking their tractors. It's pretty amazing to me that a farmer is learning programming, because that's not normally something that would come under the sorry, hit the mic. It was not something that would normally come under the purview of someone that would classify as a farmer. Commoditization? Yeah. Yeah. All right, we have two people saying the same word, so you guys must be right. It's becoming more commoditized? Sure. I went to school. I have 2 college degrees. None of them are in English. John Stern asks, who's John Deere? Is he in the chat? If he is, we should fight him. I believe right to repair is going to be a big move in 23. Companies like Framework Laptop are really pushing that in terms of electronics, but I think we're going to see it in consumer hardware as well. Cars are expensive. Everything is expensive now. Everything is really expensive. And if you can't fix the stuff that you own because it's part of a assembly, well, I only need this one stupid part. Well, it's part of an assembly, but I only need this one stupid part. Fine, I'll go make it myself. And then I will provide the file open source to those that want it. Now, is that a copyright violation? Yeah, but send me the cease and desist. I don't care. I'll hang it up on the wall. What are you going to do, sue me? You're going to sue me because I made a part for my car and then I decided to share it with everyone and did it for free? Good luck with that. Yeah, looking very hard at you, Apple, as Mad Cat USA says. So, I'm excited to see right to repair. I hope that we get a big move, but if we can't really get corporate America out of the pockets of politicians, I don't think we're going to see that change anytime soon, unfortunately. So we got to get politicians that understand their constituents and aren't just willing to get paid off by big companies that are hiding behind lobbyists. But that's more of a political statement than anything else. Let me see what else we got. Oh, okay. Never mind. So materials then. Right? I want to see blends. I think we're going to see a lot more companies releasing co-extrusions. Matter Hackers rock the world with their Quantum. Everybody loved it. And this co-extrusion, tri-extrusion is only made by a couple of companies. So they're just being white labeled. Quantum is the first one that did it, but they're not the only ones anymore. I believe that we will see, hey, Kasap, how you doing, buddy? I know your real name. How you doing, sir? I believe we'll see more companies providing these co-extrusions. I don't know if it was CNC Kitchen or Maker's Muse. I always get the two of them mixed up when I'm thinking about them. But one of them did a filament within a filament where we had like a carbon or a polycarbonate with a PETG outer core on it. That'd be really cool. I want to see more companies work on continuous fiber. I do believe it is patented by Markforged, but there's likely ways around it. I'd like to see more continuous fiber come out. A prediction is that we see more companies go after that continuous fiber market in 2023. It was CNC Kitchen. Thank you. I want to try co-extrusion. I've not ever tried co-extrusion or tri-extrusion. I only got into the rainbows this year mainly for the social media stuff because I really don't like silk PLA. I think the community is going to move away from silks other than for pretty parts because they're not very strong. So there's no reason to use them. They're only good for pretty looking parts. But I think we will see more colors, but we're going to see ways to blend those colors. A prediction that I have is we're going to see companies push more toward full color 3D printing. I'm not talking about the full color that we do, where it's got, inkjets, but by mixing color on a voxel level for a FDM printer. I believe we will see one of those this year. That will be really cool for me to see. Hey, DeWitt 3D Canada, how you doing, buddy? We got to get on a podcast together at some point, by the way. I believe 3D scanning will become a mass market consumer ready product with Polycam. And Polycam came onto the market a little bit ago. I don't even think it even came in during 2022. I believe it came in earlier than that. But I believe Polycam will enable the average user to do 3D scanning on a whole nother level. And as I talked about in the beginning, I want to compare Polycam on Android, iOS, and, Android, iOS, DSLR, and to an actual high-end 3D scanner. I believe we will see companies like Shining 3D with their Einstar come out with better software that will make those things run better, because they don't run very well right now. I want them to run better. Kasap says, would love to see a dual extruder twist like ice cream twisties, feed 2 colors at once. And mixing hot ends do already exist, but not in that way, right? Co-extrusion would enable that, but being able to selectively do that would be pretty cool. I know ones like the Cyclops from E3D flopped because they just didn't do very well, but now with co-extrusion, it might be something that people look at. Do I think we're going to have that? No, I don't. It'd be cool, but I don't predict that to occur in 2023. I believe that we will see more 3D scanners under the $2,000 price point. That is, to me, where it starts to get affordable for the average user. But if the software doesn't get any better, then I don't think that adoption will be there. So I believe companies like RevoPoint and Shining 3D will be forced to have better software for their scanners. I believe we will see more companies come out of mainland China with 3D scanners. Obviously, Shining 3D and RevoPoint are both based in mainland China. But I believe we will see others. Thunk 3D is one that I've had my eye on for a little bit. They don't really have anything that they're willing to send me for review because they don't want an honest review. Same with iReal 3D. They didn't want an honest review out of me. So I'm not going to review their products until they let me do it. And they also wouldn't give me, I wanted 2 months to review it. They were only going to give me 1 week, which is not enough time to review a product. So sorry, that's not going to work. I do want to see more commercial. I want to see more low-end 3D scanners that compete with the big boys, right? But not in the way that gets them sued. Creality. The CR Scan Lizard was a flop. You know it was a flop. I know it was a flop. Everybody knows it was a flop. RevoPoint, your Mini is crippled by bad software. It's an amazing piece of hardware that has crappy software behind it. Fix your damn software, and life will be better for all parties involved. I want to see more people care about 3D scanning, but I also want to see education. My prediction is that we will launch the Making Awesome Academy because I'm going to do it. My prediction is we are going to launch The Politician because we are going to do it. The Politician will see a release in Q1 of 2023. We will see The Politician in Q1 of 2023. If you guys don't know what that is the first 3D Musketeers branded product. It is designed for FDM and resin-based. It was originally designed just for resin, but it works for FDM too, as a means to keep a chamber temperature. If you have an enclosed chamber and you want to get it hotter than what your heat bed will do, great, use the Politician. It will be limited to 60 to 65 degrees centigrade initially, so don't try to make it any hotter than that. It physically won't do it. But will enable you to get a good chamber temp if you're running something like ABS, ASA, nylon, or polycarbonate, and allow you to have a 30 degrees centigrade settable chamber temp for your resin printers as well. That will be happening in Q1 of 2023. So, very excited for that. Eric says, no, it's just user error, not bad software. That's what everyone says in their Facebook group. No, it's bad software. And I'm sure some of it is user error, but a lot of it's not. The heated chamber patent expired in 2021. It did, but what we're doing would circumvent that anyways. The heated chamber patent specifically talks about having the stepper motors on the outside of the chamber. We're not doing that. We're putting the heater inside the damn chamber. Just sending it. So that's going to be a thing. Coming soon. TM. I believe we're going to see a big push, and a prediction that I have is that we will see a massive push in education for 2023. Printers have gotten cheaper. Resin has gotten cheaper, and resin is toxic. I can't put the thing on the screen. That's an editor thing. I don't have an editor for this. I believe education is going to be a massive move in 2023. And if you are a 3D printing company and you are not looking at doing education, you're doing a disservice to your consumers, and companies like 3D Musketeers are going to do it for you. The Making Awesome Academy will initially be designed for inventors to help them get through the product development process. That is the goal of the Making Awesome Academy. However, it will be quickly added for classes that will be more in-depth for things like bed leveling, printer tuning, and will have the ability to buy one-on-one sessions to help get your printer resolved. We're going to be doing that through the MAA, which is going to be really, really cool. Kasop asks, when are the resin is toxic shirts or patches coming? Wasn't going to do a shirt with it, but we have a lab coat in testing that has resin is toxic on it, because who the hell doesn't want a lab coat? Lab coats are cool. Education to me better be a big thing that happens in 23, because right now we've lowered the barrier to entry for cost, but we haven't given anybody the education. I plan to do a lot of it here on the YouTube channel, so if you guys do want to learn more about 3D printing, get subscribed, and hey, leave a like on the stream while you're at it. And if you do want to support what we do here, you can join our Patreon or YouTube channel members. Links in that description down below. I believe education is incredibly important, because if we give people 3D printers and we don't teach them how to use them, they're going to go to the places that they know best. And for a lot of people, that's Facebook. And Facebook is a bad place for 3D printing. And then Mad Cat's going to come in here and say, except for the 3DP rescue group, they're fine. Okay, fine. But bad apples ruin the bunch. That's all I'm saying. Fotis Mint says, Happy New Year, Grant. Happy New Year to you too, Fotis. And if you guys are looking for some badass models to 3D print that are now available on Printables, go over to printables.com, search for Fotis Mint, and grab some of his models. And since you are going to like him, go over to his Patreon and kick him a couple of bucks every month, because he's worth it. Trust me. He's worth it. Fotis says, give him hell. He entered during a rant. Yes, you did, Fotis. You entered during a rant. Gregory Pfeiffer with a fat 20. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Waiting for that lab coat pre-order so I can walk around town like, what's up, local scientist here? Yeah, no, I have lab coats for the sole purpose of looking cool, okay? Like, you could definitely use them for resin, but 99% of wearing a lab coat is so you can look cool. Anyone that wears a lab coat knows this. But yes, education is my biggest prediction. My biggest prediction in 23 is that we will have education resources. If we don't have education resources, somebody will make it. And if the companies won't, I will. That's my promise to you guys. Education is so important. How many of you burned your hand on a 3D printer? I had a mom call me the other day asking me why these things were so dangerous because their kid burned themselves on a 3D printer. Are you kidding me right now? Of course it's hot, lady. It's 200 degrees centigrade. Like, if the kid doesn't read, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not the kid's fault. There's no warning. There's no warning to tell you that there's a problem. I believe we will see a stronger hit for MSDS and SDS. The companies will need to be more responsible. There was a news article about non-toxic resin. It's clearly toxic, but they're utilizing the technical definition of toxic, which is that it will kill you. Resin won't kill you. It'll make you very, very, very sick. It will induce vomiting generally before it kills you. And so they said, well, it's not toxic because of that. Well, it's still going to kill fish if you pour it down the drain. So it's bad marketing. And we're going to see more people call out the bad actors in that. That is my prediction for that side of it as well. Oh, did the cat just stretch? She's good. If you guys stay to the end, I'll give her a belly rub. She'll end up biting me, but we'll do it. I drink it every day with martinis. Tastes great. But Fotis, do you like your martinis shaken or stirred? That's really the question that we have to ask here. I believe Polycam is going to be taking over the consumer 3D scanning market because it puts 3D scanning in the hands of people. I believe we will see 3D scanning get adopted faster in the real estate business, and we will see it become a standard when you're going through a house. Not that any of us can afford those houses, but hey, you'll be able to walk through them in 3D, so that's a plus, I guess. So, yeah. Kasaf says technically carbonite wasn't deadly. I mean, yeah. Sure. Fotis says stirred in a wash and cure. I love you, Fotis. You're so great. Is it resin or Mountain Dew? Who knows? Could be both. Honestly, with how bad Mountain Dew is for you, it wouldn't surprise me if it was. So what's going to happen to the high-end companies, right? What's going to happen to the 3D Systems, the Stratasys, the big companies out there that are playing a big game. I believe since we see more of the affordable machines getting closer to what you can do on a $80,000 to $90,000 FDM or FFF 3D printer, that we're going to see a lot of those cheaper printers go to the wayside. As long as these companies can provide good support on the more affordable end, then we're going to see the adoption of those more affordable machines in high-end use cases, right? Companies like Pantheon that make amazing printers. I would love to get one in. I am trying to reach out to them. This is a thing. This will happen. I will get a Pantheon. Whether I buy it or not, I don't know. But I would like to see companies better support their machines. If companies aren't going to support their machines, then they're not going to get the adoption they're looking for. How many of you know someone that has a 3D printer that has had such a problem with it, it's now become your problem? I bet you're not alone in this. There's a lot of people in this chat. By the way, guys, post your predictions in the chat because we'll come back to this video at the end of the year and see who was right and who was wrong. When it comes to machines, what features do I think we're going to see? My prediction is that printers without auto bed leveling will become a thing of the past. Unless you are trying to spend as little money as functionally possible, I do not see manufacturers producing new printers without auto bed leveling. I believe that 95% of the problems that you deal with beginner 3D printers are all due to something regarding their build plate. Whether it is dirty or it is out of level, that to me is where the problem sits. Because 99 times out of 100 that we deal with people that have problems, it is because somebody didn't either clean their bed or level it properly. And that's why Wednesday's video is all about bed leveling. Foda says, I predict a comet will kill us all. Been nice knowing you all. Well, I don't think so. But not impossible. I think we'd have a better eye on it. But it'd be really cool to see what happens if there was a comet coming toward the Earth and what countries decide to launch nukes at it. Because we all know that's exactly what they're going to try to do. If we don't make the machines easier to use, they will not get adopted as quick. And companies like Elegoo and Sovol and Anycubic have all noticed this. Will Creality? Probably not. Probably not. I believe we will see better extruders come out, right? Direct drive are great. I love direct drive, but these planetary extruders have me really curious. I believe we will see more printers come with jam detection. And I predict that the Prusa XL will launch and be a good printer, but not without its faults. It is going to have problems. I believe we'll have issues with the parking system that it might not always align perfectly. Now, I've never seen it have an issue with that, but I believe shipping is going to be a huge problem with the Prusa XL. But hey, we'll see. John Stern says that he predicts a lot more off-the-shelf clipper machines. I agree. And the writing is on the wall. Marlin has now implemented input shaping, or whatever their version of input shaping is. We will see more printers with clipper. People care about speed, but at the same time, they want their printers to be quieter. So I believe we will see printers that have clipper on them, but we'll give you an option of speed or silence. You choose what you want. Fotis Mint with the 50 euros. Yes, 50 euros. Wish you a happy new year and your channel to grow huge, buddy. Fotis, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Your models are amazing, and I look forward to making so many more. And I look forward to hanging out with you as often as I possibly can. Guys, if you don't know Fotis Mint, go over to patreon.com/FotisMint, kick him a couple of bucks. Go over to Printables, search for Fotis Mint, and you'll see that he just released, I think he's all the featured models on Printables' front page right now. Released a lot of his fan art models on Printables. Guys, Fotis is a designer you don't want to be sleeping on because a lot of them also come with fully supported models. So if you're a resin printer, you just put it on your printer and click print. It's awesome. Fotis says, okay, enough with the promo. But it's true. It's true. Eric says, especially regarding professional printers, I believe we will see a lot of non-profitable players disappear if we see a longer recession and the investment money disappear. let's talk about that. So we've seen companies have to do reverse splits to keep their stock price above $1 so they can be on the New York Stock Exchange. We saw, is it 20 or 21, where a lot of companies were doing SPACs. A lot of those have failed. SPACs being a special purpose acquisition company. That is to go to market as an IPO. That is what a SPAC does. It goes to market. We're going to see a lot of those fail. We've seen a lot of them fail already. And I believe Eric is right. I believe that unless this recession can turn itself around, or we can see companies providing better value machines that make people want to buy, then we're not going to see ourselves out of this, and a lot of those companies will fall to the wayside. And hey, that's okay. If they didn't plan for it, that's not my problem. Eric says, and there are a lot of companies in the 3D printing industry that are far from profitable, including those listed on the stock market. That's true. Hell, 3D Musketeers was barely profitable last year, so hey, could be us, right? That's what people don't know. It's not easy being in this industry. You gotta try hard to get there. But that's okay. I believe we see more pet projects come out. People that have been working on a project for a while finally will post it this year. Gregory Pfeiffer says, less PTFE line hot ends, more Core XY printers with enclosures available, more printers with Clipper or alike with their firmware, and more experimental hot end and nozzle variants. Dude, I am so bloody excited for new hot ends. Unfortunately, the Revo has not gone as smooth as anybody has liked. I don't like that. I love my Revos, and even I've had problems with them. It sucks, but it's just kind of, it is what it is. I hate that Obsidian has taken as long as it has. I've had issues with some of my Obsidian nozzles. I hate that this kind of thing has happened. But I believe we'll see companies that will be producing better hot ends. Similar to printers, hot ends are getting more expensive, but the value that they're providing is better. Revo is amazing when it works well. And to be clear, it works well a lot of the time. But Revo to me is amazing when it works really well because it is so easy to change nozzles. Bud HIW asked, did I check out the Rapido? No, they never sent me one. I sent them my information to send me some of their products because we talked at Earth, but they never sent me anything. So, Kasop says, I foresee more grant rants coming. That's a freaking guarantee. You all should know we're going to have more grant rants in 2023. That's a guarantee. You don't even got to front about that. We know that's going to happen. Foda says, well, lots of people will call us fanboys, but for desktop 3D printers is Prusa versus China. Only company that is left, and I will definitely prefer to support that than companies with shady practices. And I will gladly take the fanboy title. I am a massive Prusa fanboy. I have 13 Prusas for a reason. I continue to say that even with the advent of Bambu and their printers being as good as they have been, I would still recommend a Prusa to a first-timer because the entire experience matters. We will see companies start to copy Prusa in that way, that they will be pushing for more quality of support and materials over quantity of machines. This is my prediction. I agree with what Allison 3D says. Revo's a brilliant concept, but has not delivered for me yet. It's fair. Fotis says, I'll never jump on the Bambu train for my own reasons. I want to give Bambu a fair shot. You guys will see. I will be giving Bambu a fair shot. But if it doesn't fare up, then it doesn't fare up. And I won't be afraid. But with companies like Mad Cat USA saying, like Soval, right? That's an MK3S clone if I've ever seen one in my life. It is missing a filament runout sensor, which is kind of hilarious. But those are very easy to add. And I would say out of all the things on my printers, a filament runout sensor is the thing that I use the least. So I think that the Chinese 3D printer companies are looking at volume. They say if we can just get as much money out there as possible, then it won't matter if our printers are good or bad. It won't matter. But I believe it does. I believe it matters. And people are starting to see that it's not just about who's the cheapest. It's about the quality. My prediction is that people will care a lot about the value that the printers bring, but they will weigh that heavily upon the reputation of the company. Companies like Creality have lost all but every ounce of reputation in this industry because they don't give a damn about the consumer. They want your money and then they want you to F off. They don't care. Some companies like Elegoo and Creality, or Elegoo and Anycubic, they care a little bit more. We got Randomize hanging out here. Hi, Grant. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year to you too. Randomize? I don't know. Louisa, how you doing? Great to have you here. AJ Royale says, I took a leap and ordered the Snapmaker J1. Be careful with Snapmaker. Be very, very, very careful with Snapmaker. Read all of their terms of service. Because as I found out with the A350T, it required you to opt in to a way to not opt out of data collection. So be careful. Now, you all might not care about that. And if you don't, you should. I believe we will see people care more about their data privacy. And that will move into the 3D printing industry. That is a big deal. Data privacy matters so much. So much. In fact, I'm writing it down as to one of my talking points. Education. Yeah. We will see people care more about that. Whether it is because the government forces you to, or because you figure it out on your own. Who knows? Who knows? We will see the downfall of Chinese 3D printing companies. Some of them will succeed. We will see the downfall of quite a few of them. We will see the Ender 3 clones go away. We'll see value go over. But we will be forced to really start to compare companies based on their actions on and offline rather than just their machines themselves. The social good aspect. What is your company doing to better the world around it? That will start to matter a lot. And if people don't see that, nothing I can do to really change anything there. So what does that mean for 23? What does that mean for 2023? It means I have hope. The one thing that I'm really worried about is that this recession gets worse. A lot of people are kind of able to ignore it. A lot of people have been able to ignore it. But if it gets a lot worse, we're going to see a problem. Kasop says 2A 3D printing expansion will happen. That's fair. I think we're going to see a lot more people with 2A. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referencing the Second Amendment in the U.S. Constitution. That is the right to bear arms. I believe we will see a move in that. I believe we'll see regulation on it as well. Whether I agree with it or otherwise is irrelevant. Worse Peter says the Mark 3S will slowly fade as well. It's basically a fancy Ender 3 clone. Well, that's weird to say since it came out before the Ender 3 was out. The Ender 3 is a clone of the Mark 3S. The Mark 3S is going to fade. Prusa knows this, and they're already working on a replacement for it. So we have nothing to worry about there as far as I'm concerned. But this recession is really going to prove to me which way this industry goes. If this recession gets a lot worse, then we're going to see some of these cheaper companies fall to the wayside. We will see companies that are banking on investor-backed support fall. Companies like Desktop Metal kind of worry me. They've done a lot of buying and not a whole lot of selling. So I'll be curious to see if they make it through 2023. John Cern says there will be big pockets like that emerge from China. I've been working with Chinese manufacturers since 2010 and spent a lot of time there. I've seen some changes. Randomize says, really? There is some time where made in Japan used to mean cheap crap. That's new to me. I always considered made in Japan stuff to be well made and pretty reliable. I agree. Most of the time, Japanese made things are better. Japanese knives, generally better. But we're seeing quality come out of Korea as well. I believe we're going to see manufacturing move away from China for certain things and move into other countries out in the continent of Asia. We might even see things come out of India, which would be interesting as well. But yeah, I think we're going to see more Clipper. We're going to see more input shaping. But I am really worried. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about this recession. That's why you see me trying to diversify 3D Musketeers as much as possible, right? We have a physical product that we're going to be selling that I will be belt printing. We have the education platform, which in the event of a recession, education is one of the few things that doesn't see a big drop. In fact, education sees a rise a lot of times during a recession. So education. But I'm worried that we're going to see this pay to print philosophy of a service bureau falls to the wayside. And that is what 3D Musketeers is founded on. We're going to see a big push in 3D scanning in 2023, whether it's just from me or from companies in general. 3D Musketeers is pushing to do more 3D scanning. In fact, I've bought another scanner. So we're going to be doing a lot of 3D scanning in 2023. But if this recession hurts the economy the way I think it might, we all need to be ready because it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Dennis says, Prusa, while come with a printer with a lot off, never seen techniques like non. Okay, well, that's a lot of saddle that I can't digest. Sorry, I didn't understand it. Non-planar is something I would like to see, but I don't think it is mature enough for it to function well. So that one kind of worries me. Is it cool? Yeah, but is there a lot of value? I don't think so. I think non-planar and some of these other like support algorithms are very cool, but I don't know how quickly they'll be able to be implemented into the 3D printing industry. Non-planar is great if you have the cooling and the nozzle to deal with it, but if you don't, then it's not all that great, and in fact, more of a problem. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you think in those comments. I'd love to know what your predictions are for 23. I think I've gotten most of mine out there. But I'd love to know yours. And if you guys have any ones that you want me to discuss, get them in there quick, because otherwise I think we might be calling it. It would be really cool to see non-planar be included in slicers with the printers knowing what they can and can't do. That would be really, really cool. That'd be really cool. And yes, we did have 69 viewers and 42 likes. That's a double nice. Allison 3D says they predict more cats in 3D printing. Well, this cat will always be in 3D printing. And now I'm going to get bit because I promised you that I would give her a belly rub before we ended it. So here we go. She's asleep. She's not going to appreciate this. Hello. Hi. Yep, there it is. That didn't take long. I know. I did it for the stream. Okay. Cat says hi, and now she's upset that I woke her up. That's okay. She woke me up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna call it even. Motoform Prototyping says, any new Delta printers like the V400? I don't know. John Cern predicts the Bay Area rep wrap. Sorry, wishful thinking there. Well, we will see Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, so that'll be cool in Colorado. Eric says, don't wake up the boss. Products in Dad's Garage says, I think you will see multicolor, multi-material printers become more mainstream before you see non-planar. I would agree with that. Let's see what else we got. Worst Peter says, most slicers don't take hot-ended nozzle geometry into account. That's a must for non-planar slicing. Absolutely agree. All right. Well, I think we're going to call this one here, everybody. Bud HIW says, I see Prusa slow development for Prusa Slicer to not give more features to BS. Oh, Bambu. No, I don't think they're going to do that because that's the value of open source. If Bambu wants to implement them quick, that's Bambu, not on Prusa. I love that. Like I said, I believe that Bambu will provide good things for the community. Bambu will see better printers come out for the community, period. No matter if they succeed or fail, their printers will show the industry as a whole that the companies prefer, that people prefer value over cost. And I am really excited about that. Randomize says, poor Victoria, she was really enjoying her sleep until you woke her up. Yeah, that's fair. Motoform Prototype says, how about taking fumes from printers seriously? I know some people in Underwriter Laboratories that are working on studies of this. The crap produced from your printers is more dangerous than you think. Is there a way that you can deal with it? Not without making a lot of changes. Is that a dark purple or dark blue in front of the white i3? Oh, there. This one? This is a dark blue. That's a dark blue right there. Those are rainbows. So you're just seeing it on rainbow. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. Victoria's going to take a big stretch here. There it is. Big stretch. That's all we got for you guys today. Up on the rack. Oh, those are blues. Those are all dark blues. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. And hey, welcome to 2023. Our best stream ever. I think we had 90 people. Insane. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Leave a like, too. Don't forget that.